الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يحصي نعماءه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتهدون. فطر الخلائق بقدرته ونشر الرياح برحمته ووتد بالصخور ميدان أرضه. ثم الصلاة والسلام على العبد المؤيد والرسول المسدد حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد صلى الله عليه وآله الطيبين الطاهرين وصحبه المنتجبين. عباد الله، أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله. اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. أما بعد، يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى: يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم. يخاطب الله تعالى في هذه الآية جميع الجماهير والطوائف البشرية من كل الألوان والأنساب والأعراق واللغات والجنسيات في كل العالم، ويقول لهم: هناك سبب واحد لأجل جعلكم شعوبا وقبائل، والسبب هو لتعارفوا. ما جعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتفاخروا وتنازعوا وتنابزوا بالألقاب وتسخروا وتغتابوا وتفسدوا وتسفكوا الدماء وتهلكوا الحرث والنسل. إنما جعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل ليعرف بعضكم بعضا ويتم بذلك أمر حياتكم ومواصلاتكم ومعاملاتكم. فالهدف هو إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم. إن هذا الإعلان العظيم السماوي يشطب بالقلم الأحمر على جميع الامتيازات التي بنيت على العرق والدم واللون والمقام والثروة والسلطة والحسب والنسب والسواد والبياض، ويقول إن مدار الشرف والفخر والفضيلة والطريق إلى السعادة الحقيقية والحياة الطيبة الأبدية في ساحة الجنة والرضوان وفي جوار رسوله عليه الصلاة والسلام هو التقوى والتقرب إلى رب الناس وإله الناس وملك الناس. وكما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله: إن الله لا ينظر إلى أنسابكم ولا إلى أجسامكم ولا إلى أموالكم ولكن ينظر إلى قلوبكم. إن الله يمتحن قلوب المؤمنين للتقوى. كما خطب النبي صلى الله عليه وآله الناس في خطبة الوداع وقال: أيها الناس، ألا إن ربكم واحد والناس بنو آدم وآدم من تراب، فلا فضل لعربي على عجمي ولا لعجمي على عربي ولا لأسود على أحمر ولا لأحمر على أسود إلا بالتقوى. ثم قال: ألا هل بلغت؟ قالوا: بلى يا رسول الله، قد بلغت. فقال صلى الله عليه وآله: فليبلغ الشاهد الغائب. خذوا هذه الرسالة وبلغوا جالياتكم وجوامعكم بقوله سبحانه وتعالى: إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم. نعم، هذه آية واحدة تلغي مطلق التفاثيل والتفاضلات القومية والعنصرية والعشائرية والطبقاتية وكل الرواسب الجاهلية. ومع الأسف ما يزال حتى بين المسلمين من يقدم وحدة الدم والنسب والعصبية الجاهلية على الأخوة الإيمانية والوحدة الإسلامية. ولذلك نرى ما نرى في البلدان الإسلامية من الحروب والخلافات والدم والفساد والفرقة، وليس هذا بسبب قوة المعتدين والمتجاوزين فقط، بل بسبب ضعف المسلمين. ونحن نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يحفظ أمتنا من شر العصبية الجاهلية، وأن يظهر دينه على الدين كله، ويجعلنا خير أمة أخرجت للناس، إنه على كل شيء قدير. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله أكرمه بالنبوة وجعله رحمة للعالمين. اللهم صل وسلم على عبدك ورسولك وحافظ سرك ومبلغ رسالاتك، وصل على وصيه وأخيه أمير المؤمنين وعلى الصديقة الطاهرة فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين، وصل على سبتي الرحمة الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة، وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف القائم المهدي حججك على عبادك وأمنائك في بلادك صلاة كثيرة دائمة. اللهم لا تدع لنا ذنبا إلا غفرته، ولا هما إلا فرجته، ولا سقما إلا شفيته، ولا عيبا إلا سترته، ولا رزقا إلا بسطته، ولا خوفا إلا أمنته، ولا سوءا إلا صرفته، ولا حاجة هي لك رضا ولي فيها صلاح إلا غديتها يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
One of the words that we heard during this week a lot from all the media and also social media was the word of justice, al-adala. And the main reason behind this was that 18th of January this week was the anniversary, the national holiday honoring Martin Luther King. This celebration started in 1983, 15 years after the death of Luther King. He was killed in 1968, and he was 39 years at that time. He didn't have this popularity that he has today when he was alive. He spoke about justice, but he was one of the main victims of injustice. He was called as a communist, and he was arrested 29 times, and sometime even he was jailed. But now he is a popular figure, and if you listen to the president inauguration lecture, he mentioned Dr. Luther King. As a matter of fact, the photo of Luther King now is in the Oval Office, in the office of President of the United States. You see the picture of Luther King there. This man, as a man of faith, as a man of God, spoke about civil rights and justice a lot. Some of the very famous quotation like injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. He said, if the church lost its voice of justice, that lost its relevance to the world. Means forget about it. If it's not conversation about justice, forget about what the mosque or church or synagogue are saying. He said the true peace is not the absence of tension, but the presence of justice. And he said all this thing not as a political statement, but as a faith statement. Because this is an order from God. Otherwise, yes, politicians talk about justice, even philosophers. If you go to Socrates and Plato and Aristotle, Socrates and Plato, Aristotle, they all talk about justice 1,000 years ago. Justice was considered as the true principle of social life in the philosophy of these great philosophers. As a matter of fact, in Plato, he had 4 words, and he said these are really the foundation of morality: al-hikmah, al-shaja'a, al-iffa, al-adala. Wisdom, courage, modesty, and justice. But he said, but justice is the foundation for other values as well, because wisdom is a justice in mind, courage or shaja'a is a justice in heart, and iffa, modesty, is a justice in human desires. He used 3 words of al-jamal, al-haqiqa, al-adala, the words of beauty, truth, and justice. These 3 words were the most popular words in philosophy of Plato. So when Martin Luther King talked about justice, not just as a philosopher or as a politician, but as a man of God, because God said it, because Jesus said it, because it was in his Bible. And he said, some people, they criticize me that you are talking about this issue, you are wrong. And my answer to them is that if I am wrong when I am talking about justice and civil rights, then God is wrong. If I'm wrong, Jesus was wrong. If I'm wrong, then the Bible is wrong, because they all talk about justice, and there is a verse in the Bible, blessed are they who observe justice. So that is in the Bible, he said. And it is, subhanallah, an honor, brothers and sisters, that when we go to the Quran, there are tens and tens of verses talking about this subject. Al-adala fil qawl, fil amal, fil qada, fil shahada, fil mujtama. As a matter of fact, the Quran says that the purpose of all these prophets, They came for one thing, ليقوم الناس بالقسط, to establish justice. قل أمر ربي بالقسط وأمرت لأعدل بينكم. Quran says, oh Muhammad, tell them that your mission is to establish justice. Isn't it amazing? The mission of all the messengers in general and Prophet Muhammad in particular was to establish justice. أمرت. That is a commandment. اعدلوا هو أقرب للتقوى. If you are looking for piety, look for justice. كونوا قوامين بالقسط. If you are looking for iman and you want to call yourself mu'mineen, stand for justice. إن الله يحب المقسطين. You want to receive the love of your Lord, you want your Lord to love you, be just. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان. This is not a suggestion. This is an order. This is a command from your Lord. يأمر. This is his order to establish justice. وتمت كلمة ربك صدقا وعدلا. You want to know the foundations of revelation, the foundation of the words of God. There are two foundations. صدقا وعدلا, truth and justice. Then the Quran says, وَإِذَا قُلْتُمْ فَعْدِلُوا. When you talk with justice and fairness. وَإِذَا حَكَمْتُمْ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ فَاحْكُمُوا بِالْعَدْلِ. If you are in the position of judgment, you are in the court, establish justice. وَلَا يَجْرِمَنَّكُمْ شَنَآنُ قَوْمٍ عَلَىٰ أَلَّا تَعْدِلُوا اعْدِلُوا. Even if you hate someone, don't let your hatred for someone to stop you from practicing justice. وَلَوْ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَوِ الْوَالِدَيْنِ وَالْأَقْرَبِينَ. Even if justice means that you lose, even if justice is going to hurt you and hurt your parents and hurt your family and your relatives, still do it. And when we go to ahadith, ocean of ahadith, al-adlu hayatun, this is life. Justice is life. Al-adlu fadilatun, a great value. Al-adlu junnatun, that protects you. Al-adlu barakatun, that is a blessing for your community and your country. Al-mulku yabqa ma'al-kufr wa la yabqa ma'al-dhulm. You may survive with kufr, but you cannot survive with dhulm and injustice. And the reason we are honored of Imam Ali, because he was Sawt al-Adalat al-Insaniyya. He was the voice of human justice. The reason we are so much talking about Al-Mahdi alayhi salam and Al-Intidhar al-Mahdi, because يَمْلَأُ اللَّهُ الْأَرْضَ بِهِ عَدْلًا وَقِسْطًا, because he's coming to establish justice. So when we talk about Martin Luther King anniversary and talking about justice, one thing we learned that in the same country that Luther King was hated and harassed and arrested and jailed, in the same country now you see Luther King, his photo is in the office of the President of the United States, and inauguration lecture he is honored and his dreams are honored. You see, President Biden talked about the dreams of Martin Luther King. So this is an amazing that this happened not a long time ago. In matter of 40 years, 50 years, you see so much changes in our society, in the country. There was a day in this country that the women could not even vote. Not only not to be elected, they could not even elect. They could not vote. Now you have a woman as the vice president of United States of America. And that woman is not coming from a white Christian family, coming from an Indian, Hindu, immigrant, people of color and immigration. But she got an opportunity to be where she is now. That is a lesson that helpful for us as other minorities in this country, that things change. how we can learn from this experience. Even this new president, Joe Biden, is a Catholic. And you know, not long time ago, in 1844 in Philadelphia, the black churches were burned. This KKK, they had bloody attacks on Catholic churches and Catholic community. The hospitals and the schools did not welcome the Catholics because they were on the authority of the Protestants. And if you are Catholic, you were not welcome in their public school. You were not welcome in their hospital. And this is why Catholic, they made so many hospitals in this country and so many private schools because they needed. They were not welcome over there. But look at this Catholic community from what they were at that time to what they are today. 30% of US Congress are Catholic now. You know, out of 9 Supreme Justices, 6 of them are Catholic. That's how things change. The first Catholic president was John F. Kennedy, but at that time he was under so much harassment that he had to publicly distance himself from Roman Catholics. But now it's not the case anymore, and the second president, as a Catholic, he comes and he brings his Bible that's been in his family from 100 years ago. You know, that's a very honorable situation. How many Muslim presidents you see in the Muslim world to have a Quran from 100 years ago and to be proud of that and bring the copy of that Quran and, you know, make a yameen, an oath of presidency on a copy of the Bible of the family from 100 years ago. So that shows that possibilities and opportunities are there in this country, despite of all the ups and downs. But there are good news on this. All we need to know is just to be united and be focused and work hard and get educated and help one another and support one another and have this self-confidence. You know this photo of Senator Sanders. You see all the Facebook all over the board? There are more attention to Senator Sanders than even the president himself. It was a funny thing all over. I saw even the Facebook in Iran and all, they put that picture that he had with that jacket and that gloves. And he doesn't care. He said, well, I just don't want to get cold. That is the issue. And the gloves that somebody made for him years ago from, normal material. And this self-confidence is appreciated. And that is a good for our youth. That this is the story of Martin Luther King, from being jailed to be honored now and have a holiday, a national day in his name. And then the story of Catholic Church, from being harassed and burned and put down to be in the White House now. And people of color and women with this opportunity. Even the defense secretary today was confirmed by the Senate as the first black defense minister in this country. Although it looks like 4 years is your turn, 4 years is another turn. Things change in this country, but still, it shows the opportunities. And you know, look at what the new president said about justice. Beautiful. How many we have in the Muslim world, in the Arab world, that the new president comes and talk about all these beautiful words. Now, to act is another thing. To practice what you preach, that is, of course, the challenge of the new president. But he talked about unity, about hope, about healing, about humbleness, about dignity, about democracy, about respect, about honor. And I heard his lecture and I read it. He talked against the white supremacy, about domestic terrorism, and about fighting our common enemies. Who are our common enemies? He mentioned anger, resentment, hatred, extremism, lawlessness, violence, coronavirus, of course, joblessness, hopelessness. So beautiful and healing words. But now the challenge, how much these beautiful and wonderful words can be practiced. Of course, he already removed the Muslim ban, and the travel ban already removed. Now those Muslim countries who couldn't travel to United States, now he removed some of these things, some of the wrong policies of and tensions that Trump's created. But now to go ahead with other promises and honor the international law, like the nuclear treaty and other agreement, that is something that we can watch. And at the same time, brothers and sisters, learn from this dunya la'ibun wa lahb. Many of us could not think that Trump would face the destination that he faced. I mean, with all this power and shining and all this support, not only at the level of political support, all these evangelicals who used to say that like he is a new Jesus, the second coming of God. They thought that Trump is a Messiah. They called him King of Israel. I mean, all this propaganda that they said about this, you could see the final things that happen. That should be وَاعْتَبِرُوا يَا أُولِي الْأَبْصَارِ. That all this dunya and all the money and all the might and all the authority and all the propaganda and all lies and disinformation cannot save anybody at the end. It may fool some people for some time, but at the end it's not going to work that way. So we are glad now that the first enemy that the new leader mentioned is to fight this coronavirus. And he put this on the top of his priority to combat this corona. And we have to participate in this fight, brothers and sisters. Because still I know that in the social media, some people even now, they deny that there is such a thing as coronavirus. Can you imagine how many more people should die that we believe that there is coronavirus? 420,000 people just in the United States, over 2 million internationally. If you look at the positive cases internationally, we are talking about over 100 million people. 100 million. And now, some people still don't take this nasty, this dangerous, this deadly disease seriously. And I wonder if you watched our panel discussion about corona, that we have an interfaith panel discussion that I saw today, that almost 10,000 people watched that panel that we had yesterday, and hundreds of comments from all over Michigan and the nation, with Dr. Khaldoun and some other experts in medicine, and also some interfaith. They had invited us to cooperate as an interfaith community to bring more education to all of the communities about taking this matter very seriously. And I mentioned, if you watched that yesterday in our Facebook, and we're Facebook all over, that there are of course some Muslims that they think, oh, because there might be a pork in this new vaccine, and they have some ihtiyat that is not halal or might be najis, that I said, look at the Quran. Quran says that if there is an option of life and death, Even lahm al-khinzir is mujaz for you. When it comes to protection of life, it's about life. Protection of human life, your family's life, your neighbors, your communities. This is a big responsibility. This is not a joke. You have to take it seriously. Even if there was like a percentage of pork, for example, it was istihala, like many other stuff that we are using. There might be a percentage of alcohol or the pork in some of the material and food or drink. But then by the development, when they make a vaccine, it's not what it used to be. It's total transformation of the nature of this material. But then the doctors, they said, by the way, there is no pork involved to begin with. So I don't know how they made this rumor that there is a pork in this vaccination. Or some people talk about side effect, and some people talk about, oh, through this vaccination they are going to control us. There are some material in this vaccine that now they can control you wherever you are. And I said, if that's the case, we have to drop our cell phone first, because through our cell phone they can control us, whatever we say, wherever we go, any movement. So it's better to drop cell phone than the vaccine. That's more safer if that's the case. So we have to be very careful that there are so much rumor in the mass media that they are saying that no, somebody took this vaccine and died, and already tens of thousands of doctors and nurses in this country already they took these vaccines. Dr. Ajur is one of them. He took it twice. So they started from the medical society. Yeah, of course, like any other medicine, when you go even a Tylenol, you get there is like a big 2-3 pages that they explain that, if there is something like this, you consult with your doctor and so on and so forth. But the fact that we have to take this very seriously and look at it as an obligation that, of course, if somebody is totally isolated and feels that there is no need for this vaccination, that is a personal choice. But if we get to the point that we have only two options, either vaccine or virus, which one should we choose? Do we choose virus or we choose vaccine? What does our religion, our rationality, our reason for our protection may tell us? So this is still a serious fight, brothers and sisters. For this reason, the mask still matters, the social distance still matters, and we are not done with this war, and we have to follow what is going on and continue to educate ourselves, because this is for protection of our lives and the life of the society. And we know what does our religion and the Holy Quran say about importance of life, that if one person was killed innocently, then the sacredness of life is broken, like the entire people died. Because when life was attacked as a principle, then is like everyone and everywhere. So we have to take this seriously, but at the same time not to forget to pray. Not to forget to pray for those who are suffering from this corona, those who lost their lives, those who suffer. And I have seen some friends that they took it, and when I talked with them on the telephone, I have felt how horrible this virus, how this virus that nobody still can see it, subhanallah, an unseen virus can paralyze the whole world in such a horrible way. This is another reason to feel this faqr, antum al-fuqara, and return to God for protection, for help. Allahumma ya Rabb al-ard was-sama' anzil alayna al-shifa wa adhib anha ad-da. Allahumma asrif anna wa an ibadika wa biladika hada al-bala. Allahumma ighfir lana warhamna fa anta arhamur rahimin. Allahumma azil anna hada al-waba wa a'id at-tuma'ninata fi qulubina واجعلنا من الذين يقال لهم هذه الجنة التي كنتم بها توعدون سلام عليكم بما صبرتم فالنعم عقبى الدار. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر وإلى الصلاة إن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
صلى الله على محمد وآل محمد.
الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. وأن عليا ولي الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح. حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. سووا صفوفكم واعتدلوا مع التباعد الاجتماعي. Keep your social distance, brothers and sisters, and have the lines in order, and no cell phone في أثناء الصلاة. وجهت وجهي للذي فطر السماوات والأرض حنيفا مسلما وما أنا من المشركين. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يسبح لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض الملك القدوس العزيز الحكيم. هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة وإن كانوا من قبل لفي ضلال مبين. وآخرين منهم لما يلحقوا بهم وهو العزيز الحكيم. ذلك فضل الله يؤتيه من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم. مثل الذين حملوا التوراة ثم لم يحملوها كمثل الحمار يحمل أسفارا بئس مثل القوم الذين كذبوا بآيات الله والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. قل يا أيها الذين هادوا إن زعمتم أنكم أولياء لله من دون الناس فتمنوا الموت إن كنتم صادقين ولا يتمنونه أبدا بما قدمت أيديهم والله عليم بالظالمين. قل إن الموت الذي تفرون منه فإنه ملاقيكم ثم تردون إلى عالم الغيب والشهادة فينبئكم بما كنتم تعملون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. فإذا قضيت الصلاة فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله واذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون. وإذا رأوا تجارة أو لهوا انفضوا إليها وتركوك قائما قل ما عند الله خير من اللهو ومن التجارة والله خير الرازقين. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم أنطقنا بالهدى وألهمنا التقوى ووفقنا للتي هي أزكى واستعملنا بما هو أرضى. اللهم اجعل في قلوبنا نورا وفي أسماعنا نورا وفي أبصارنا نورا بنورك استهدينا يا أرحم الراحمين ويا أكرم الأكرمين. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. القارعة ما القارعة وما أدراك ما القارعة يوم يكون الناس كالفراش المبثوث وتكون الجبال كالعهن المنفوش. فأما من ثقلت موازينه فهو في عيشة راضية وأما من خفت موازينه فأمه هاوية وما أدراك ما هي نار حامية. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. يا ولي العافية أسألك العافية، عافية الدين والدنيا والآخرة يا أرحم الراحمين. الله أكبر. بسم الله وبالله والحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا لا إله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إني أسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته وضعفت قوته وكثرت ذنوبه، سؤال من لا يجد لفاقته مغيثا ولا لضعفه مقويا ولا لذنبه غافلا غيرك. أسألك خوف العابدين لك وعبادة الخاشعين لك ويقين المتوكلين عليك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
أحسنت. تقبل الله إن شاء الله. First, don't forget that inshallah we have that special aqaid and fiqh education course, a semester that starts inshallah in the first week of February, and that is from Al-Hawz Al-Muqaddasa, and that is in English. 25 sessions about this, the belief system and also the jurisprudence, ahkam al-salat, ahkam al-siyam, ahkam al-hajj, especially for the youth, 16 years and up, please register. For the whole semester is only $50, but if you keep every session and don't miss any of the sessions, it's free for you. So that is a reward for those who take it very, very seriously. Also, we want to honor, we had this tragedy in Baghdad, unfortunately, again, another criminal thing that happened this week. The ISIS, all these mujrimeen and animals that they exploded a bomb in Baghdad's market, and over 100 people were killed or wounded. That is a tragedy. And also the tragedy of natural tragedy in Indonesia. You know that there was an air crash, and then there was an earthquake, and a lot of people, they lost their lives. We pray for them, and also for those who are suffering, especially from corona or other illnesses. Let us say لشفاء المرضى وخاصة الحاج ربيع كباني. He is in the hospital. لشفائه وشفاء المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمرضى جميعا. نقرأ سورة الفاتحة، سورة الحمد، بعد الصلوات على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. Also, we want to thank the ladies that they support, this food distribution. Alhamdulillah, we stayed very consistent. We are very consistent of this service. House of Wisdom is at the service of the community. You see all this interfaith that we are, taking the message of our faith all over, and all these actions and outreach. And I see a lot of sisters who volunteer to help. This is a really tough job. It is cold outside, and these sisters, for hours, they started like 4 o'clock and sometimes even after 4 o'clock, and they are serving, they are taking this food, and they are, taking care of our guests. So we want to thank them, God bless them, and also the brothers who are doing as much as you can help them, either this week or coming weeks. This is really a good cause. Today we have brothers and sisters from medical community. They are here. If anybody interested to have a test for corona, is a free service that they are offering, and we thank them. God bless them. They are in the entrance and outside of the building, and they are taking care of that. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله وأن عليا ولي الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. صلاة العصر.